my community got into a conflict with a forest company, J.S. Jones, who wanted to log the Siska Creek watershed, which is in the back up here, and our main water source for our community. And so of course we were opposed to the logging activity. We ended up doing barricades, we ended up in court, and it was in the court sessions where we lost our ground. And basically the judge said that we could not prove enough use of the land to stop the logging activity itself. So we started talking about what can we do on the land base that works for us and fits with us as First Nations people. And it came to the point where we agreed we needed to start harvesting and marketing our traditional foods. That way we would create a socio-economic opportunity for our community that would outweigh any timber extraction. We quickly realized what's in abundance out there. Well, most certainly huckleberries are out there. You know, we got wild mint, we got stowetta, we got those other things that are out there in big abundance. Sustainably harvested is easily accomplished and managed. Some of the other plants, one was, for example, wild ginger. Really highly sought after wild plant in British Columbia. We thought, whoa, we could sell this to the Asians. But when we went out and did the biomass assessment, we found that there was very little. Isolated places here and there, very sensitive plant, boom, it dropped right off the product list. We only picked one wild ginger just so that it could be brought back for people to see, and then that was it. It was never touched again. First year we put out a notice, we want stowetta. Well, they came in a garbage bag, roots and all. So we said, whoa, they obviously need to be educated. I would just assume a person would know how to pick stowetta. But when youth went out there, because there was a dollar value, they just pulled the whole plant out of the ground. We went, whoa, brakes on. Hence the certification project. That ensures that they go out in the land base with the elders. They know what they're doing, they know what they're picking, and they know when to pick it. It's really important. There are plants out there that can kill you. The Death Gamma 1 looks like a wild onion, but it ain't a wild onion. It'll kill your butt. So that kind of stuff is really important, that they understand that. So that's one of the other regulations, is to be a certified harvester for Siska Traditions. You have to be certified.
Well, a lot of the harvesting, you know, like Fred was telling you earlier, that when we said we wanted stowetta, you know, people just went out there and picked them, you know, they just picked them like crazy. But now, when I take people out there with me, I teach them when to pick it and how to pick it, because my mom had told me that there are times that the medicinal qualities in the plant are really high, and there are times it's really low. We pick the raspberry leaf. And the time to pick that is before the berry blossoms, because once the blossoms come out and the berries start to form, the medicinal qualities leave the leaves. They go into the berry. We have to go out there and harvest the leaves before any of that starts. Or if we're late, we have to go out there and we have to go through all the bushes and look for the young ones that have no flowers or berries on them, and those are the ones that we would use.
It's really beneficial to both the youth and the elders, because now all of a sudden your elders have a sense of purpose. Somebody respects their knowledge and is willing to learn from them. It brightens their day. And for the youth, they then have more respect for their own elders and the land that they live on, because now they see their grandmother or their grandfather or their uncle that's now talking to them and teaching, and they see that. They see the passion, that love and respect for the land, so they then learn from that. And plus, the language is utilized throughout the field trips. They won't describe these plants in English. They'll all be in Tlakapamschin. So that's another way. There's another level of learning that happens out there on the ground.
So when I use that, it's right there. When I use that, I take that out there and I show them. And I have the Tlakapam names of all the parts of the plant in there. And I try to teach them how to say the names of the various parts of the plant and when it's the best time to pick it. There are times of the plant is when it's most beneficial to you, and there are times when, well, I guess it'll fill you, but you don't get as much good out of it.
Part of the program that we operate here is we try and bring back culture and language into the community, which is being lost. And so what a harvester does, what Morris is doing for us, he's very fluent in the language. So we have some language classes for him, but we have asked him that when he has elders in the woods with the youth to try and speak most of the time in Tla'amin, to try and get that language going again. When they're out there, they'll do that. They teach the sustainable picking. They bring the product back. We purchase the product from them. Then we make our products and sell it. We take that money and invest it back into that program. So that we're getting that education part of it going, as he was saying earlier about the ethical picking and the reasons why it's done that way. But we also incorporate language into that. So there's much more than just a money-making program of putting a product out. And that's how I think, and why I think we have the interest of the community, and why we have the broader interest of other communities as to how we're incorporating it in there.
They do the canning themselves, they mix the soap, they pour it into the trays, they pop it, they wrap it, they label it. It's all very, very labor intensive. It impacts your profit margins, but this company was never about big profits. It was about creating employment, utilizing and sharing and getting traditional foods not only into a marketplace where we could have a value come back from them, but also to get them into our own homes, to get our own people out there harvesting and understanding and eating their own foods.
There's been a lot of challenges in that, trying to figure out how to take that and transfer that into the products that we're doing and get that meaning out to people, so that when they're selling them a product, they know the meaning behind that product rather than it's just a jam. And that's a challenge that we have. I think once people understand that, it seems to help boost our sales a bit, because they realize that whole program that I explained about learning the language and the education and all that fits into it. And they realize that this is more than just a jar of jam or a bag of tea or whatever.
I guess our biggest challenge, believe it or not, is because this is such a seasonal business. You take a big risk. Like right now, this year, we're struggling for huckleberries. We're struggling. And it's one of our #1 sellers. That in itself really creates problems for the whole marketing strategy, because it is a seasonal thing. There is no guarantees. And this is something why choosing the partner is so important, whether it's Urban's Fare or Capers or something like that, that they need to clearly understand that this is a seasonal business. And there are times when we just won't get a product.
We don't want to be in the big box stores. And so we're looking at to be in those specialty stores with specialty items, because this is a specialty item. As for when we're talking about berries being low one year, sometimes that works to our advantage, because we're saying, look, that's part of the specialty of this item. We may have it this year, you may not get it next year, we may not have it till the following year. So that makes it even more of something that is sought after.
Marketplaces may change, but the values should not change. As I shared with you earlier, we got approached by a hotel Renfrew chain. They wanted a small jar of huckleberry jam on every one of their pillows throughout North America. Well, they've got 54 hotels. It's, no, sorry, we cannot do business with you, because it impacts the values of sustainability, maximizing labor-intensive employment for the community members, utilization of language, tradition and culture in the harvesting, preparing of foods. No, we couldn't do it. So we walked away from an incredible opportunity, maybe in some business person's mind, but going back to the question, business. To us, Siska, we're a highly successful company, highly successful. Why? Because we break even. That's our goal. How do you measure success? One company might measure it as, we made $50 million last year. Siska Traditions, we were successful, huge success, because we broke even. That was our goal, and that goal is never going to change. We're not here to make a huge amount of money. This is about creating employment. It's also about being able to take this to other communities, to encourage other First Nations to get out on the land, utilize their traditional resources, create socio-economic base coming out of those resources, and never drop the value of your elders and your people.
My mom had told me that when the Creator made us and put us here on this land, He made everything for us so that we would survive on this land. She said everything right from the water to the top of the highest mountain, the Creator put there for us to use as medicine, food, buildings, and tools. He made all those things for us so that we could survive on this land.